Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Quick, hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on our socials too: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on whatever you're listening to this podcast on. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru and I am a TV holic. Again, I'm here without Mimi because she has not watched any of the seasons of Exo Kitty yet. But I'm hoping, like I said in my previous episode about Exo Kitty season 1, to get her to watch all 3 seasons. And then if there's a season 4, we're definitely going to cover that. So if you haven't followed, click the follow button, because we are going to be going through each season meticulously. And I've got a lot of opinions. I'm also talking about like gossip about the cast, the crew, the storyline, what's going to happen in other seasons, and all that stuff, and also the reception that it received. So season 2, let's get into it. Let's get into the thick of things. So I know there's like lots of stuff. There's lots and lots of drama in this season. And there's like a lot of snowy mountains and a lot of scenery in Korea that we haven't seen before on the show. And this season, I think there was 8 episodes. And I just don't like the shortness of it. Like I said before in the previous podcast episode, I don't like how short each episode is. It's not like fun to watch something that is like so deeply like condensed down into like tiny little everything, not tiny little, but some short episodes. It's not fun. I'd rather they have like 16 episodes like a K-drama, or 24, or longer episodes as well, instead of 30-minute episodes, maybe an hour. So we also get into other things like family secrets, and like there's like a lot of character like building and like character growth and things like that in this season. So I think this season is like a kind of like a kiss like confessional kind of season. So let's get into it. So I just want to break down a bit of the episodes. We're going to go like chronologically through the like Kitty's like stuff right now. Sorry, I sneezed. Try to hold it in so I don't make a loud noise on the pod. Okay, so yeah, so Kitty has like a fresh start, I feel like, this season, and it's like quickly becomes into like this kind of romantic minefield that she has to like navigate through. So episode 1, I think, is called Kiss Me Again. And this is when like Kitty arrives back in Seoul after like summer vacation, and she's determined to be like somewhat of like a Kitty 2.0. Very cliche. They have it in like all these like Netflix shows or like American TV shows, but like a 2.0 version of herself. And she wants to like avoid boys and focus on her mum's like history. And she just basically is kind of like vowing to stay out of trouble, stay out of other people's drama, and not create any drama in her own life either. And she just wants to stay out of trouble, basically. So in her universe, her little kitty universe, I feel like the universe has like other plans for her, and she's like immediately thrown back into like this kind of like into the orbit of Yuri, because she was really attracted to Yuri and she had her first girl crush and everything. So I think she does still have feelings for Yuri, and Minho is like still nursing his ego after being like rejected at the airport by Kitty. And basically, I feel like what's hooking us in this episode is Kitty is living with like new roommates, and there's tension, and it's like basically palpable tension. So that's like an intriguing, different kind of like before she was like secretly living with the guys in the guys' dorm in season 1. and like the guys were like hiding her. It's all like flipped over this season. So episode 2 is Never Been Kissed, and Kitty tries to like pursue like this sort of casual interest to distract herself from Yuri, from liking Yuri. But there's like a dance party and it leads to like this kind of like classic rom-com like disaster kind of trope situation. And also in this episode, Q's track rival um is there, and Florian starts playing like dirty and creating this kind of like rift in Q's personal life. So that's Q is her gay bestie, is Kitty's gay bestie. And then other drama, so we see just kind of like this like love square starting to form. And then in episode 3, it's about like it's called New Year's Kiss. And it's what happens is like it's like a uh I don't know what I wrote here in my notes. A cell something a lunar new year. It's a lunar new year, and Kitty and Pravina, a new friend, this is a new cast member, teams up with like Minho like reluctantly for like this kind of heist situation to find more clues about Kitty's mom, because she's really determined to get to the bottom of like the situation with her mom and all that stuff. And while Juliana and Yuri have like this like tension kind of confrontation, um and we get to see the first real spark of the season between Kitty and Minho during a quiet bonding kind of moment that they have. So then episode 4, it's called Kiss and Tell. And well, I don't know if it's called that or if I just wrote this down in my notes. I can't remember. I wrote these a while ago, so I should have checked that again before I started recording. I should have done like a little read through of the notes, but next time I'll do that next time. Kiss and Tell. So the cabin, the ski cabin episode, basically this is. And it's like a classic K-drama kind of situation. The gang gets like snowed in with no Wi-Fi and are trapped in a cabin. And basically a lot of secrets spill, a lot of secrets are like let out accidentally, and um a lot of people are upset by what they hear. Kitty basically realizes that she has feelings, that realizes her feelings for Yuri basically aren't really going away anytime soon. And Minho also realizes he's definitely not over Kitty in this situation, because he is trying to move on with another girl, but he just can't do it. He's not doing it very well. Then let's move on to episode 5, Kissing Cousins. So Kitty basically in this episode like follows a lead on her mum's like past, and it kind of leads her to Stella. And she is basically a mysterious figure who might be like a long lost kind of relative. But Yuri tries to make things right with Juliana, but the fake dating situation kind of like scars over from like season 1, and there's a lot of friction because of all that stuff. And then episode 6, Kiss and Makeup. I feel like Minho and Yuri were like forming an unlikely kind of alliance to do like damage control on their like social lives, like on each other's social lives and their own social lives individually. And a surprise visitor from home comes back to see I forgot her name, Kitty. Margot. I don't know why they have given these characters such strange names like Kitty and Margot and Mary Jo or whatever, Laura Jin or whatever. I don't know what her name is, Laura Jo or whatever. Yeah, so she arrives and brings like life-changing news to like Kitty, in like for Kitty's family. Like stateside, where her family are like stateside. And then episode 7 is The Kiss of Death. And that is basically, it's the night before the cherry blossom ball, and Kitty is like really hyper focused on like proving Stella is like a fraud, while she helps like Yuri and Day prepare for like a massive performance. And the tension between who loves who basically reaches like this kind of like climax boiling point situation. So Stella is kind of like, we know that she's like the the bad guy this season, and she is dating Minho at this time, and Minho's trying to like get his mind off what's her name, Kitty. But okay, I'll just get to that at the end of this recaps of the each episode. So episode 8, Sealed with a Kiss, is basically the final episode, and Stella's like concert plan comes to life, and Kitty basically finally ends up confronting her feelings for both Yuri and Minho, and we basically leave on a cliffhanger, and Kitty's scholarship is renewed, but her heart, I feel, is just kind of like more divided than ever. So I want to just talk about like how, again, this is nothing like a K-drama because it progresses too fast, all the episodes, and like so much happens, whereas in a K-drama it's like longer episodes, an hour long, and there's about 16 to 24 episodes in each K-drama, and everything is very spaced out, like the events that take place. But in this, everything is very crammed together because they're short episodes and a very short season. So that's not like very like pleasing for someone to watch, kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Because K-dramas, the allure of K-dramas is that it's a very slow burn kind of situation. But I just want to talk about the characters and the character development and character arcs that they had this season, which were very different from last season, from season 1. So Kitty Song-Covey, Anna Cathcart, her character, season 1, if you listen to season 1, my season 1 recap, you will know that I really can't stand this actress that plays Kitty because I feel like she's ruining the show. She's not very good. She is very like over the top, and I explain more detail about why I just can't stand her as the role of Kitty. If you go back and listen to episode 1, not episode 1, my season 1 thoughts and feelings, and I'll be doing a season 3 as well. So, and season 4 if there is a season 4 coming up. We don't know if it's even been renewed yet. But if there is a season 4, me and Mimi will probably be recapping that together because I'll be getting her to watch it. So follow if you haven't already followed, because we're going to get into the thick of things in the upcoming episodes, and go back and listen to the previous episode. So yeah, like I was saying, Kitty Song-Covey, Anna Cathcart, in season 1, I felt like she was like the fixer. They put her in that kind of role. But in season 2, she's the one who basically feels like she's broken, and other people kind of like helping her. And we see her like basically like struggling with like reality, that you can't really match make your own heart because it's difficult to do that. And her arc is about like her identity and realizing she might be bisexual, and like navigating that while in like a foreign country in Korea that she's not used to. Well, she is kind of used to it because she already did 1 year there. And then Minho, or was it 1 semester? Or I can't tell. I don't know what's going on. Then Minho, Sung Hyun Lee's character. Minho this season basically goes from being like a spoiled, like bratty, like rich kid, like Chebble or Chebble adjacent, like a billionaire or a millionaire kid, to someone who is like very like genuine and has like developed a lot of depth in his character. And we see his like vulnerabilities, and this is all like especially like regarding the absence of his mother, and like we see a lot of him like fearing rejection, and he's basically softening, and it's basically all thanks to like I think Kitty and Kitty's like highlights this season, like the things that she's been up to this season. So let's move on to Yuri, who is Jia Kim. Yuri basically struggles with the pressure of her family's like reputation this season. And we're talking about the Han Hotel empire, because she comes from this kind of like rich chaebol family, or millionaire family, or billionaire family, and as well as Minho does, but separate families. And versus we also get to see her love for Juliana and how that's progressing and all that stuff, how it didn't really progress. And she's more kind of like proactive this season, trying to like define her own like happiness rather than just like hiding from her mother, because she had to like hide that she was bisexual, not bisexual, a lesbian from her mother. Then I just want to also talk about Dae Hyun Kim, who's played by Choi Min-yeong. Min-yeong. Sorry again about like butchering the names. I'm really not good with people's names. But let's get to Dae. So Dae, this season, I feel like he takes a bit of a backseat, because first season he was the romantic lead, but we kind of see him grow as an individual on his own without like Kitty and being the romantic lead, and he like focuses on his like talent for like music and performance this season, and basically leans into a bit of more of a like supportive friend role for like Kitty, without having like a kind of boyfriend label attached to him for his character this season. And I just want to talk about behind the scenes gossip and casting and stuff like that. So let's talk about what happened really when like the cameras weren't rolling. So this is like all the gossip and stuff that I managed to gather before after this season. And I wrote this down quite a while ago, so I might not remember everything perfectly when I'm going through it, so bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna have to like, my nose is like running quite a bit. I ate something spicy, and like, sometimes when you have something spicy, like gives you kind of like a reaction, or like your nose runs, or you like start sweating or something. That's what's happening. Okay, so bear with me. Might sound really extra nasal right now, but that's a combination, like I said, of like the spicy food and allergies as well. So yeah, so what really happened when the cameras weren't rolling this season? So the truth serum like situation, kind of episode, not episode, but like in this season, the cast did a series of interviews, and I feel like the allure of like the truth serum, like I'm labeling it, where they like kind of like revealed that Sung-hee Lee, who plays Min-ho, is kind of like the biggest prankster on set. I can see that. I can see that. And also, like, I want to talk about the hot tub scenes. Like behind the scenes, the cast revealed that there was like a steamy hot tub scene between Kitty and Minho. And it was actually freezing cold in reality, and they were like shivering between takes. So that was interesting, because obviously it was outside and it was like freezing cold. And real life siblings, just some fun facts that I've like got about the real life siblings, meaning Minho and Yuri. So the fun fact is that many of the new like fans that watched season 1 like discovered that this season that they were like brother and sister. We talked about that in season 1 episode. Yeah, my season 1 recap episode. And yeah, so that's Yuri and Minho are really in real life brother and sister, and they keep their like professional distance on set to stay in character, but their off-screen bond is like very tight. They're very, very close. They're revealed in interviews and stuff. And then I feel like the director's vision, director Jenny Han, who wrote the books, because this is based on the books from before, I wanted season two to feel more like a soul centric kind of season. So they used more local Korean staff and filming locations to ensure that they got like this kind of K-drama aesthetic. And again, they tried to make it as authentic as possible, but they could have like, made them speak more Korean, or like longed out the episodes more, or like, stretched out the drama in the season, but they didn't. That could have made it better, a whole lot better. But I've got some more comparisons to K-dramas that I want to make. So it's also EXO Kitty, I feel like in the tabloids and stuff like that, it's also often called like the American K-drama. And I think like season 2 like really leaned into this, because the slow-mo like kind of like gaze and like, slow falling and things like that, they really leaned into that. Like whenever Kitty and Yuri like locked eyes, the music like swelled up and the camera slowed down, and like it's like a staple of like the show, like the crash landing on you, like the event, you know what I mean? And then the love square that was there as well. So most K-dramas have like a love triangle, and EXO Kitty had like a complete kind of square with like Kitty, Dae, Yuri, Minho like situation. And that really kept fans like interested, and like there was a lot of people talking, I noticed on TikTok, about season 2 and this kind of like love square situation. And then there was like that heist episode in the Lunar New Year heist, and that felt like that was kind of like a nod to like K-dramas, because they always have things like that, like in um Vincenzo, or like The Healer. We will be covering Vincenzo as soon as Mimi gets to watch that, because I've seen that already and she hasn't. And then the class divide as well. So the tension between the wealthy like Yuri and Minho and the scholarship students like Day and Kitty is like a classic boys over flowers kind of theme, I think anyway. Now I just want to like briefly touch on like the reception and like the criticism that this show has received in season 2, because it's different from season 1 slightly. So public reception, I think the show, like we already know, was a massive hit and still is a massive hit, and it was like top 10 globally on Netflix, and fans like really like the chemistry between Anna Cathcart's character and Song Hee On Lee, um, basically Minho, and they were Team Minho, and that kind of like trended on, I think, social media for quite a while. Team Minho, for like a few weeks on like things like TikTok and Instagram, and then the representation of bisexual leads, in like Yuri and like there was the other Ravina character and uh Kitty herself and Juliana. There was a lot of bisexual characters and LGBTQ characters like Q and Jin and Florian and all that, was also like really like taken well as well, on social media, particularly I found. And yeah, people really liked the very inclusive uh storylines. So I thought that was really great too, that they added a lot of LGBTQ stuff in this season, because they did have like a little bit last season with like a lesbian couple and gay couple, but this time they've like kind of like made it the main storyline kind of situation in season 2. A lot of people were criticizing the pacing, like I said. They felt like the love square became like too kind of like, like fast moving, like it was like you're on a merry-go-round. It's going round so fast and people were getting dizzy. And then Kitty switching her feelings too quickly between episodes as well was like another big point, because it's not a slow burn like K-drama, which if you're going to switch your feelings from person to person, it can't be just like a quick flip of the switch, because that's not how people work. And then cliches that I just want to talk about. In a few reviews said like that I saw on like Rotten Tomatoes, mentioned that the show basically relies heavily on campy tropes and bad decisions by teenagers to drive the plot. Those were like the major criticisms that I found on Rotten Tomatoes. And then also people were saying that some people basically felt like the dialogue in season 2 was a bit too like Gen Z and trying a little too hard to like use slang that might feel like kind of like dated like a few years back, if you know what I mean. So basically I just thought like this season was like just a spin-off of like this is what people were saying, of like they made it a lot about like the previous stuff that happened in the spin-off, the show that this Exo Kitty spinned off from. So I feel like it was like basically it turned into kind of a spin-off of To All the Boys, and it became its own kind of like little beast. And it was very, very messy this season compared to season 1. Very colourful as well, just like last season 1. And it kind of perfectly like captures like the chaos of being like 17 in a city that like never sleeps. And if you're not there with your parents and you're in a boarding school kind of situation, like obviously there'd be a lot of chaos and drama between teenagers. And a lot of people, you know, were debating Team Minho or Team Yuri and all that stuff. There's a lot of social media involved in this season 2. And it's I feel like the KISS universe, the KISS school is like a very like dramatic place. And that's all my thoughts about this season. I will be doing a episode on season 3 that will be coming up pretty soon. So probably next week. So stay followed for that. And we're going to be dropping a lot more K-drama stuff, a lot more like C-drama. I'm going to start C-dramas, K-dramas, Japanese stuff, maybe Thai stuff. And also we're going to be getting into some Korean reality TV stuff as well, because there's a lot dropping right now. So we're just trying to get everything out, everything edited, everything put out there into like, you know, the podcast verse, the, you know, social media, everything. It's a bit hectic. I haven't got a lot of time right now, so I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible. But yeah, let's see where this ends up. I definitely will be doing season 3, and if there's a season 4, definitely we will both be covering season 4. So stay tuned for all that. And we'll see you soon. Bye. Quick, hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on our socials too: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube. And give us a 5-star rating on whatever you're listening to this podcast on.